talk about someone who has helped a lot of people. So this guy goes by many, many names, which I found out because I thought, okay, HP Fangs. He goes by HP Fangs. He goes by Haji. He goes by Mr. Grayson. He goes by the name that he was born with that I don't even have written down here. But mostly he goes by being known as someone who is really just out there helping people. He works at Glow Academy. He does things in the community. He was just doing a bunch with summer camps this summer and took a roller skating fall, which is why he is on crutches. But he's just a wonderful person trying to make art make a difference. And that is really, really exciting. He's been a local illustrator, worked on a book, a children's book, and lots of other things going on with him. But I will let Haji, HP Fangs, tell you all about it. So I would love to introduce to the stage HP Fangs. Yep, just.
Do I sit here? All right, I don't know what, we'll just, no, I got this. No, it's totally fine. No, everything's regular.
We got it.
Cool, got it. Well, good morning. It's so good to see people who have nothing to do at 9 in the morning. Has anybody ever seen The Muppet Show? Who did that? All right, so if you've seen The Muppet Show, right, like the backstage where like Kermit is trying to gather everybody together, but there's like fish exploding in one corner. There's like Fozzie trying to tell Scooter a joke while Scooter is getting Dolly Parton ready to go on stage, and just nothing works. Nothing is streamlined. Nothing is happening as it should. That is what's going to happen today. So I don't know how many of these things you've come to and have engaged with professional speakers. Abandon all of that today. So with that bit of premise, I do want to give a huge and sincere thank you to Cameron Art Museum. When they asked me where did I want to do this, I chose CAM specifically because at this point, I feel like a part of the staff, right? Like I'm a real dummy artist. Like I don't know who is familiar with my art, but it is just a string of terrible ideas. And CAM has been really accepting of the work that I've done. And they've been really accepting with the topic, right, like mentorship, and we'll get into this a little later. They're really accepting with my students. And like I said, I'll get into the long of that later. So I do want to give a big round of applause or clap or, stomp your feet for Hannah. I don't know if anybody is familiar, but they just recently received like one of the wildest like accreditations. It's huge, right? There's like something like 33,000 museums in the country or something, and they're like one of like the short 1,000 that actually have this accreditation, and that's in our town. That's not a small thing. So when they ask, like, go check out the exhibits, check out the exhibits. Come here August 9th when I'm doing events for children. All of that said, let's get to the mentor part. I told you, Muppet Show, it's about to happen. So I was asked to, we're gonna get to him in just a second. So I was asked to talk about like mentorship or being a mentor or like whatever that means. When I was growing up, right, like as a creative, as an artist, or are there artists in the room? Whatever artist, culinary, musical, whatever artist. If you're an artist, just clap your hands. So I have a, all right, so I grew up, like me and my sister grew up, born and raised in Hawaii. with all of our family living in Jersey City. So like there was a whole duality in my life. Like I was one person here and I was one person in another place, and I was completely different in that. So it was hard to really find to be like a mentor. Like I grew up with my mom and my sister, like the only boy in the house. Ugh, lame, girls, whack. But and I had a mom who was not really around, not for any negative reason. She just worked a lot, right? And my mom was not down with me being an artist, and not for any negative reason. She was just like, I'm a young black man, like the world isn't gonna do me any favors. So she was like, you gotta be a doctor or a lawyer, which is crazy. There's so many occupations you can have. Why do parents always say be a doctor or a lawyer? I'm looking right at you, and I was just about to make fun of doctors, and I'm looking at one right now. How many doctors are in here? Yeah, raise your hand. I knew it. How many lawyers are in here? That's crazy, right? So raise your hand if you had a parent who was like, you gotta be a doctor or a lawyer. That's wild, right? Nurture your kids when they are telling you they wanna be an artist. But I get where my mom was coming from, right? Young, black, and at the time in the late 1900s, you gotta protect yourself. So I didn't really have a mentor or anybody to really nurture what I was doing. And so my first mentor was Charles Rutherford Brown. And I am not being facetious at all when I say this, right? Charlie Brown I don't know if his middle name was Rutherford, it just sounded really good, and y'all went right along with it. You didn't even ask the question. But he had become a mentor in that he has this weird inward level of positivity, right? He's this kid who just sees the world hating him, right? He wants the best for the world. Everything he does, he wants the best for the world, but he can't see the world seeing him. And he's got an amazing consortium of friends. Every one of his friends would freaking punch through school buses to make sure he's okay, but he doesn't see it, right? There was an episode, well, not an episode, there was this movie where Charlie Brown goes to summer camp, and he wears this paper bag over his head so people don't see him. And this is around the time when I got my first hat. And for those of you who know me, I don't take my hat off. So much so that is nobody I work with here? Tight. My school tried to implement a dress code. I'm not having that. And and so I had my therapist write up my hat as an emotional support tool. But that's right, and part of that was that was the only way Charlie Brown felt comfortable presenting himself, was if he was hiding himself. But it was wild because everybody loved him. Everybody loved him, but he couldn't see it. As much as he wanted the best for the world, he couldn't see it. And I saw myself in that, right? Man, I shouts out to being bipolar. And this is not use it as a tool, but it's a real thing, right? And I just identified that. And so I would follow his stories. I started reading his books, the Charlie Brown cyclopedias, when encyclopedias were a thing. Everything Charles Schulz did, I owned. And I followed Charlie Brown like he was my North Star. And I still do to the day. I still do to the day. That's what made me want to really get into art. I wanted to be Charles Schulz. And is kind of melancholy as that sounds, it's really not. This is a good story. So Charlie Brown was my first real mentor in terms of who did I follow, who cultivated me, who did I learn from, how did I figure out how to move through the world. And then enter my second, Dr. Teeth. And so this is where duality becomes important, right? Because Dr. Teeth was the complete opposite. Dr. Teeth was this huge, flamboyant character. The world revolved around him, and he knew it. Like, right, Dr. Teeth, Electric Mayhem. When the Muppet Show came on, it's his band that's playing. Anything that happens in the land of Muppets does not happen unless Dr. Teeth says so, and that is toxic happiness. And when I so I said, for those of you who are familiar with my art, you know that there's always like a gold tooth in my work. And you know, there's a part of it, is a guy that my grandfather used to live next to, who later I found out was a drug dealer. It was crazy. But like as a kid, I thought he was the coolest guy in the world. And I still do. But like the gold tooth comes from Dr. Teeth. And if you've ever seen the original Muppet movie and you go back and you watch it, there's a quote. So like Kermit drives up and you know they're looking for a place to stay. Him and Fozzie are looking for a place to stay. I know exorbitantly too much about the Muppets. And you're like shaking your head like, can we please get to a real conversation? But anyway, so like Kermit pulls up and he's like, what the crap is going on in this house? And so like Dr. Teeth is in the van and Kermit looks at him and he goes, what's going on with the gold tooth? And so Dr. Teeth goes, gold tooth, gold lifestyle, baby. Literally, like, go, if you don't believe me, this is not like hyperbole. Go back and watch it. And I can't tell you how many times I watched that movie, but that line, I was like, yo, gold tooth, gold lifestyle. Now, I've never had a gold tooth. I did have braces and retainer and headgear and the whole bit, but never a gold tooth. But that golden tooth, golden lifestyle, it was like, where do I fall between Charlie Brown and Dr. Teeth, right? Where do I fall? Because these two are the people that I'm following. And like, so Charles Schultz, right, who the creator of Charlie Brown, and Jim Henson. Jim Henson is one of the most creative people. That was also who I wanted to be. He has a quote. I hope I'm saying this correctly, but it's, in life, everything either gets eaten or it gets blown up. And it's so true, right? It's either eaten or it's blown up. And like I carry myself with that, right? Like nothing is ever that serious. I mean, it is, but it's what is your outlook and how does that move you through the day? So these are people that have become my mentors. And when I think about like what is a mentor, like I just didn't have that as a kid. You know, living in Hawaii, like I had friends and I had, you know, people in and out of my life, but I didn't have anybody who I could latch onto who would teach me about me or the things that I was interested in or the things that I loved. And like, that's a gap when you're a kid, right? Like, it truly is. Like, and I'm a person that has, my brain is like a bag of cats, like all hopped up on pixie sticks playing pinball, right? So at any given point, there's like 30,000 thoughts going on in my head. And with no outlet other than like Dr. Teeth or Charlie Brown, how do I become me? And I knew that as a kid growing up. And, you know, being honest with everybody here, spent my time in mental hospitals and did all of that stuff. It's part of my reality. And that's, I want to say maybe that was a part of it. Maybe if I had somebody to like really like kind of not hold my hand. Well, maybe like holding hands in school. Like it's anyway. But like if I had somebody to be like, come with me, young Padawan, I'd have loved it, but I didn't. Right? It wasn't until I was way older into becoming an artist. I don't even know if I was HP Fangs yet. But you know, people had started to like recognize my work, and I didn't know what to do with it. And so there was this guy, right, just runs a comic book shop, Memory Lane. I don't know if anybody's familiar with Memory Lane, right? It's a great comic book store. And so this guy, Jake, owns it, and he starts to coach me on what to do with my art, right? Like Jake was the first person that, feelings. First person that ever let me put my art in a place. And then, like, as an artist, like, I want to sell it. Like, I just want to give it, like, oh, I made this. Do you love it? Please take it. Right? Like, you don't know what to do with that. And, like, coach me, artists always want to be self-deprecating. It just comes with the territory. And he kind of coached me through all of that. He's actually in the room right now. Jake, can you, like... So if I had to say, like, who was a mentor that showed me what was up, like, it's Jake. I wouldn't have known. I wouldn't have been HP Fangs. I wouldn't know what to do with my art had it not been for him. And so knowing all of that, so I'm a teacher now. And I've always worked with kids for a long time. Like, I worked in foster care and adoption. I helped families find children. We're going to run through all of these pictures. But I understood the value of being a mentor because I didn't have it, right? So when I first started working with kids, there's just a difference between being a teacher and a mentor, right? Like, you don't sign up to be anybody's mentor. They choose you. Charlie Brown and Dr. Teeth had no idea what they were getting into when I decided to follow them. But as a teacher, it's my job to teach a class. It's not my job to do anything past that. And in doing that, I had started this art club. And I didn't even start the art club. It was a couple of students who wanted to have an art club where there wasn't one. And so I started this art club with about 7, 8 students. This was in 2000. It was a long time ago. Like, I'm gonna call you out, Ghost. Just give me a second. Just be ready for it. And so I started out with a couple of students when they were in their 7th grade year, and about to go into your junior year of college, right? So I've been calling her Ghost Hands for years, but like, no, big round of applause for her, right? Like, and so I started working with this group of kids, and I didn't know I was gonna become their mentor. At first, I was just their teacher, right? And it's like being a teacher is one thing. Like, here's how you do like 2-point perspective, and the light comes here, so shadows and elements of art and all of that boring stuff. But it was dope to have the art club because we ended up. Yeah. Do you guys remember the State of the Art of the State exhibition that came here? Mm-hmm. My students hung that. Like, my art club, we were here from I think 10 in the morning to 2 in the morning, like hanging the exhibit with Bob and some of the other staff. But when I started working with these students, I didn't realize I was like their mentor. It was just, I love these kids to death. And nobody tells you what to do with art. Your teachers don't tell you that. They teach you the fundamentals, right? Like, here's how you do this, here's how you do that. And then, like, if you're an artist, what do you do with that? Like, if I want to be an art, well, do I go to art school? Which is good if you went to art school, but like, you don't know what to do with that. And so I try to make it really intentional that outside of me teaching art, that I want to cultivate artists. And not just in a way that, like, this is how you sell art, right? Like, because that's just transactional. Art is not transactional. But this is how you become whoever you're supposed to be, right? Like, I don't know if you want to be Batman or the Little Mermaid, but whatever it is, we are going to work together to figure out how you make that happen. Thanks for the 5 minutes. I do be rambling. And so I've just worked with these kids so much in a way that, like, we do work at CAM. Like, we do community service. Do you remember, I forget what event it was, and it was like some show, and I had all of my students working. They were not allowed to, like, hang out, and some lady came in and called us a sweatshop. Like, And it was like, and here's where, like, this is really terrible, because, like, majority of us, well, the majority of students were all, like, Hispanic, like, young girls. And so, like, this woman coming in, like, this looks like a sweatshop in here. And we made jokes about that for years. But I love to hear that, and the girls didn't take offense to that because they were working. They were becoming who they were supposed to be. Like, right now, like, Talia, like, she is currently in the middle of doing a children's book, right? And this happened, what, your sophomore year. Her freshman year of college, weren't you like doing all the artwork in like your dorm room or residency or something that your mom told me? I've been with her since she was in 7th grade. And can I share the text that you sent me? So it's her and another student, Leslie, who, like, if I had to, am I on camera? I don't have a favorite student, that's crazy, but I got two. I do have 2 of them. So we were just talking, and I was telling them that I was gonna do this. And so when we talk about being a mentor, I'm gonna tell you what Talia said. All right. I'd say a major thing that makes Mr. G stick out is that he's all around accepting, which plays into so much of art and encouraging creativity. It's really hard to feel like an artist nowadays, or at any point ever. But he's always done his part in making us feel legit and reminding us that our creations matter, and so do we. I learned to credit myself for all of my accomplishments, which I learned from Jake. I learned to credit myself with all of my accomplishments, creative or not, and that is important. Your accomplishments don't just lay in whatever it is you do. Everything you do is an accomplishment. Sorry, I'm tangenting. So Mr. G is a mentor when growing up in a world that pressures conformity, and I am so grateful to continue to have him as a support system even throughout my college journey. He's a real one. 3 exclamation points. And the other one from Leslie, who, like, Leslie is like the favorite child of Cameron Art Museums in terms of, like, my volunteers. All right, so she loves to invert my name. So Davis Grayson was and continues to be a great role model for me. He pushed me to become a better artist as well as a better person. He genuinely does care about the whole picture. Even after graduating, he's kept up with me, checking in and providing opportunities for success and recognition because he believes in me. No matter what, I know he'll always be by my side. He's been a real G, always keeping it real. I've heard of his struggles and how he's triumphed. Not only that, but I've also watched him strive and his accomplishments. He's kind, compassionate, while maintaining firm expectations, which I do. I am hard on the kids that I love. Right? This is testimony. Maintaining firm in his expectations for the students he mentors. He also pushed me to correct my mistakes and never let me slip. I can say truly I appreciate him for everything he's done and everything he's done for me. And I read you those not to just shower myself with compliments, even though part of it was, because that just sounds awesome. But, like, having a mentor is important, right? Again, not having one, woof, where did that come from? Whew, not having one as a kid sucked. Here we go. Not having one as a kid sucked. Being able to be one, it might be the greatest thing I've ever done in the world. And like, you've seen the pictures, that one right there. She does not, this is my daughter. She right now does not look at me as a mentor. She right now is like, oh, Dad, I know, I get it, you love me, stop. But all of that practice is, like, all of this mentorship that I've done with Talia, that I've learned through Jake, that I've learned through Charlie Brown, that I've loved through Dr. Teeth, I try to permeate and, like, focus it on that face, right? Not having one sucks. Being able to be one, greatest thing in the world. If you have the opportunity to be one, and you don't get to choose if you're one or not, like, they will choose you, but recognize it, right? Recognize it. It means, it is the literal divide between life and death sometimes. And I say that. I say that very truthfully. It is sometimes the difference between life and death. So, that one. what is that, 2 minutes, 30 seconds? Am I good? Yeah, so Q&A. I would really love some water if somebody could get me a cup of water. Oh, wow. I did not think that was going to happen. Whew. Sorry. Q&A. What's up? Who's got a cue for some of these A's? Yes!
Okay, so you presented kind of two parts of your life. There's a part of you that you talked about was like hiding and like kind of humble and sort of reluctant to share your greatness. And on the other hand, like being a mentor, I think requires a certain amount of like authority and grace, or otherwise why would someone choose, right? So I'm just curious what you thought.
I don't think it requires authority or greatness. Thank you, my man. I appreciate it. I think it requires authenticity. Like if you ask some of my students, and there's a big difference between my students and my club kids, right? There's a huge difference. My students and my club kids will tell you that I am an idiot. As a teacher, I'm an idiot. My principal, if you're like, how's Mr. Grayson doing at his job today? And she'll go, oh, we love having him here. Just because that's just how, like, right? Like, it's just how I operate in the world. So a kid has to think that you care before they care what you think, right? It doesn't matter if I'm an authoritarian. It's not my job to, like, be in charge of them. You're not, in any time you deal with anybody, I don't control you. I don't control my own kid, right? Like, she is her own person. I think when you meet a person where they're at and you pour into that with everything, I think that's how you build that connection. Like none of my students, none of my club kids, I don't know, like, do you think I was ever in charge? Like, yeah, sometimes. But it was more of like, I see you and I see all of you, and I want you to just grow into that. So no, I don't. It's just authenticity, right? Like, most of the students I work with are like better artists than I am. It's authenticity, right? It's not authority. It's never authority. It's authenticity. So thank you for that question. Yes, the doctor. Yeah. I didn't mean to roll my eyes at that, but yeah.
That was a big thing that people didn't realize that they needed at a time when they needed it. I wasn't even here for that. But knowing that the impact that they had, like, I guess, what about being like this, I don't know, like this unconscious mentor for others who don't even realize that they need it, but they need it. Like, what about putting yourself out there to be seen as a mentor or as a villain, depending, but.
Yeah, because in putting that thing up, I was some people's heroes and I was a lot of people's villain. But if your question is like, how do you know you need a mentor? I mean, I feel like that's just like human nature. Like, you want to connect to people, and especially when you're younger, you rebel against everything. It's what you're supposed to do. But like, even the rebellion is a front, it's a facade. Like, you want somebody to show you how to do what, like, I don't, like, if you juggle or bake cakes, right? Like, I want to meet somebody who juggles to really show me the juggling ropes. Are there ropes in juggling, or chainsaws or bowling pins or whatever? I don't know. But like, I think innately you always want that. I think everybody does. I can't imagine that there's a person sitting in any of these seats who has never wanted to connect to somebody who does what they do, or has seen somebody and you're like, man, that's freaking dope. Like, how do I grow and nurture this thing? That's how dreams get crushed, bro. Like, like, that's how dreams get crushed. Like, I love my mom to death, but I didn't start doing art again until my daughter was born, because I went into, like, I didn't want to at any point ever be a doctor or a lawyer, but like, I spent a lot of time being like chasing success, and I'm hyper ambitious. Like if I see an idea, I lock in, and I cannot remove myself from it. And I spent so much time not doing art because of that. So to answer your question, I think everybody always wants a mentor. Like it's not like a profession. Like today I will seek a mentor. I think it's just like you just feel it. Like you move through your entire life wanting that connection. Like I said, I didn't meet Jake until my and right, like if it wasn't for Jake, I wouldn't be sitting here right now. I guarantee that. I know that for a fact. Yes. Hello.
First off, you've definitely made an impact on your students, not just your mentees as well. My niece is one of them. You mentioned something that really struck a chord with me, that art is not transactional, and that's actually something that I'm struggling right now with my mentee, which is my boyfriend's daughter. She's an artist.
Mhm.
She just discovered that she can make money off of her art and has developed sort of a mentality towards it, so trying to distill a more positive mentality that is not about the art of the deal, it's about the connection to the art.
Yeah.
What advice would you give future mentees in regards to that art is not transactional?
It's what do you want out of it? Like that's what I would ask her. Like, what do you want out of your art? Because there's commercial artists who like it is. I personally, I have my feelings about art. I feel like art, it doesn't have to be good. It's just something you do, right? If she's discovering that it's a thing that like she can make money off of, good. I wish I would have known that as a kid, right? I really wish I would have known that as a kid, because that's the business end of it. That's her setting herself up for success. Now, in that, don't minimize the talent, right? Like, yes, all right, you want to make money, let's figure out how to like monetize it, but why are you making the art, right? What is your connection to this art? Why did you create this piece? If you created it specifically to make money, cool, then then we need to have a business conversation, right? That's a business conversation. But why are you making art? And whatever her reason is, keep pouring into that reason. Money will come or it won't. Like, I'm broke. This looks great. And like, I don't think I do terrible as an artist, but your boy is broke. And that's fine, because I've never complained about making art. I've never complained about going to work. I've never complained about anything that I do, right? So it's just what you want. She wants to make money? Cool. Talk to her about the business end. But I would say, ask, why are you creating the art? And whatever that reason is, then that is what you put your foot on.
Probably have one more.
You in the front. You in the front.
Thank you, sir.
And then you in the back with the glasses. Sorry, that was. Go ahead.
For folks who have never been a mentor to someone, do you have advice on how you put yourself out there in that way and project like that you are open to this?
You don't.
We seek.
You don't. You can't. Like, you don't get to choose to be a mentor. Like, it's. You don't get to choose. You just be you. And if you're working with kids, like, you know, there's Big Brother programs, there's Boys and Girls Club, and like, you can do great things. You can always work for your community, but that, whether it's a kid or that older person, whatever, they will decide when you're their mentor. You don't get to decide that. You just be authentically you. And then you'll start to realize it when they're like calling you from college about things, right? Like, and then you're like, oh snap, wait, I need to like button up, like somebody's like paying attention to me. Ugh. And that's how it happens. That's how it happens. Yes.
I was just wondering, like, how did you figure out your art style? You said that your daughter was born. Were you like in the delivery room being like, wait, honey, don't push yet. I got my results.
I love that, and that's the story that I'm going to tell from now on. I didn't necessarily figure. There was this thing I used to call it chasing Mickey, right? Like I was trying to figure out like, what's my Mickey Mouse? What's my identifiable character? And so like, short version, Dr. Teeth. I just always had big teeth. but it was problematic when I was getting, and so I just drew big teeth on everything. And then when I started doing art, I just did it, and then, you know, Jake let me hang my artwork in his store. And then at one point, somebody was just like, hey, are you like the teeth guy? And when they said, are you the teeth guy? I was like, huh, yes. I am the teeth guy. And so then I really just leaned into it. So I didn't really recognize it until somebody else recognized it, and I was like, yes, I will put a tooth on that. All right, real quick, I know you said a minute. Because this is really stupid. My first dalliance into the arts was just like, because I just wanted to make dumb stuff for my daughter to laugh at. And my first Instagram was like called Butt Biters. And I just drew cartoon characters biting another cartoon character's butt. Literally, that is what I did. Because to me, I'm a 12-year-old, and it was hilarious. And then I illustrated my first children's book, and I did this Barnes & Noble book tour. And it became a really hard thing to like tell parents when they were like, where can I see your art? And you know, these professional people with 401ks, and I was like, well, you can look it up at Butt Biters. And so it's, I don't know, and it's just a personal philosophy, right? Like Charlie Brown, like, I have a hard time seeing the world before the world sees me. And so like, I just, and this is different for everybody, I think the world is reflective, and so I don't ever know what is happening until I see it happening to me. And that's on my car? Heck no, I don't want my car to be identified. I'm so like, as much as like, right, there's a Charlie Brown side and a Dr. T side, and I'd love to perform and do all these things, but like, once I leave here, I want to hide immediately. This is why I put my hair in my face, this is why I keep a hat on, I feel invisible. But yes, I will get off.
What's next for you? Where do we see your work? How do we connect with you?
Oh, yeah, I should say those things. You can, so like, I'm HP Fangs on Instagram, or hpfangs.com on my website, or, you know, go to Glow Academy and interrupt my classroom. But yeah, hpfangs.com or hpfangs on Instagram. That is where I'm at. Yep, now it's just people looking at me. But no, I appreciate you guys going on this like long, rambling journey with me. The band will play me off now.